Welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Comic-Con studio. I'm Sam Highfill, and I'm joined now by Mindy Kaling and Charlie Grandy from Velma, the upcoming series. Have you guys had much interaction with like Scooby fans here at the con?
No, we just got here,
Okay,
so
you've been here for
that's
like 20
coming.
minutes.
Yeah. So not yet, but
I'm
we can
dreaming
feel
to
it,
meet
yes.
a grown man in a Scooby costume
seen
saying
some
"Ruh
of
row." That's like what we
That's
are longing
really why we
for.
did the project.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason you're doing this. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you guys have worked together for years, but how did this particular project idea come about?
You know, I work with Warner Brothers, and I'd never done animation before, and so it was really exciting to see the entire canon of Hanna-Barbera cartoons that they have. And I, obviously, big fan of Scooby-Doo, was raised watching almost every iteration of it, and really loved the character of Velma. And I said to Charlie, like, would you have any interest in doing something that told her origin story? And he was into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I instantly said yes. I mean, I've always loved animation, particularly adult animation. So it just combined a bunch of sort of ideas that I'd wanted to pursue into one project. It was just fantastic.
Well, that's the thing I'm so curious about is you're doing her origin story, but this is very much like this is an adult, this is targeted at adults. Like the poster you all released is like incredible and gory and all those things. So what made you want to do it that way, to have kind of like the adult spin on it?
I mean, my answer. I mean, for me, honestly, for Scooby-Doo as a fan, the one question I always had was, how did these four people come together?
Sure.
These four very different people, and then also every week they solve a spooky mystery. Every week they almost die. You know, so it's sort of like, why? What happened to them in high school that was so bad that they're kind of able to this stuff rolls off their chest, as scared as Shaggy and Scooby are.
Yeah.
Like, how are they able to keep going back? And clearly they've gone through worse stuff than, sort of being chased by a person in a glowing diving suit.
Sure. So after this, you do the sequel to Scooby where they're all in therapy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I write so much for young people and high schoolers, and it felt like there's such a history, between Veronica Mars and Riverdale of like young teenagers dealing with murders and crimes. And we thought, Velma is a character who seems perfectly poised to handle this kind of like a scarier environment. And it felt fun for us. Also, like, I'm a big fan of the Scream movies. So I think having there be real peril in it felt like a really fun challenge for me. I've never worked in kind of horror before as a writer, and it felt like a really fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah. I love that we talk all the time about like those high school years feel like life and death, even when it's not. So to actually make it life and death is just all the more entertaining. But so, Mindy, were you always going to also play Velma, or did that just kind of come about when you guys started talking?
How did that come about? I think it was.
I think from the beginning you wanted to, and then as the project evolved slowly. So I think it was just kind of over time as it became something you said, yeah, I want to do this.
And I think we knew that it would be fun for me to play Velma, but we had a conversation. We're like, okay, well, Velma's white, and we have this new choice to do the show, and if I'm voicing her, should she be white or should we be not? And I think we were really inspired by, Into the Spider-Verse and these ideas that there's so many iterations of the characters. And it's animation, we can do anything. Yeah. And the essence of Velma is not, it's not necessarily tied to her whiteness, and I identify so much as her character, and I think so many people do. So we just said, let's make her Indian in this series. Yeah. And the minute we saw the animation, and I love the animation, it's so beautiful in the show, it felt like it really kept like the heart of the show. Like, we really wanted to honor the original series, and it doesn't feel like this insane departure.
Right. So we've got a serial killer, right? Are we solving, because you mentioned in the traditional Scooby stories, it's kind of like a case of the week sort of thing. Yeah. Are we taking that format along with kind of a larger arc? Is it just a larger season arc?
So yeah, without giving too much away, there is a larger season arc. Okay. And then it's more the weekly, or the episodic mysteries are more mysteries of teen life, other larger problems that Velma is trying to solve in her life while also tracking this serial killer.
Yeah, I'm such a fan of Twin Peaks, and Charlie wrote the series, and he's the creator of the show. But I just love how there's like a mystery that is the overwhelming arc of the series, but then there's also so much opportunity to do this thing that I really love doing in my other shows, and Charlie has also done, which is the serialized, like they go to prom, they have
Yeah.
these, Crystal Cove has a, fog festival. It has all this great stuff, and we get to talk about all those juicy high school dynamics that you don't really get to see in the original series,
Yeah.
and that we love writing so much. So what is she going through? Like, she's obviously going through self-discovery in a lot of ways, and so we get to, it's a way to do another really great teen series as well.
What is her prom dress? Now I just want to know what her prom dress looks like. What does Velma wear
Oh,
to
it's
prom?
exciting. You'll be happy.
Well, I'm also curious. So you mentioned like this is an origin story. It's before she meets the rest of the gang. So which reminded me of like, is this like a Smallville situation where you're like the final shot of the series is when she's with the gang?
In my mind, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there is, if I can do that elegantly, but again, I want this show to run forever. So, hopefully I won't be alive when the show's ending.
It's a great goal.
Yeah.
And snobs will be like, it was better when Grandy
Yeah,
was
exactly.
alive.
Yeah.
I hate
That'll
this
be on
new
my
version.
tombstone. Yeah.
But that's been really fun, the origins of Jinkies, seeing the character of Norville and how does he become Shaggy, because we know Norville is his real name. So I think Charlie did such a brilliant thing with the writing staff of taking all these things and providing Easter eggs so that real fans of the show know that we know the series inside and out and want to, it's obviously different than the original, but we really care about it.
Yeah. Well, Mindy, obviously you decided to voice this iconic character. Now you've done it, right? You've done the whole season?
Yes.
Okay. Was it what you expected, like the experience of being Velma? I feel like a lot of that will rely on once it's out maybe, but
Yeah.
for you, what was it like?
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. We did a lot of it during COVID, but Charlie was in the booth with me. We did it remotely. And I've done voice work before, but I just said this, I played a lot of creatures, so it was nice to play a teenage girl, and
Sure.
let's be honest, I sound like a 15-year-old girl from Encino, so it worked, I think, I think when I hear it back, but the other voice talent too is so great in this, of whom I cannot mention yet, just yet.
Embargoed till 11.
Embargoed
it's
until
like
11.
it's almost there. 4
But
minutes.
I'll say this: we have 4 minutes. It is I'll say this because we have great casts in a lot of our shows. This is the most star-studded cast. It's really incredible. I cannot wait to see the people who are playing the main character. So that is really fun.
Yeah. Well, and I am interested in, because so many of your shows also touch on female friendship. And are we going to see kind of her gang before the gang, if that makes sense?
That's really the show. I mean, the show is, you'll meet the four. I'm not giving anything away. It's the question is, how did they end up coming together to solve spooky mysteries as, their careers, I guess.
Not to throw a bigger question at you guys, but why is it always 4 or 5? But even in my real life, it's always been a friend group of 4 or 5.
It's hard to fit more people in a picture. I don't know.
That's what it is. It's all about
It's
selfies.
all just that. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how many people we can. That's incredible. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping in.
Thanks for having us.
I'm
Thank you.
so excited for the casting that is coming in a few minutes. But yeah, everybody else, stay tuned to EW.com.